Hello, everyone. We are having a video here for lesson 1-1 for course 4. So it'll be our first one of the year. I think it'll be a review for a lot of people, but you're going to be in your note-taking guide. So it looks like this. Okay, so if you don't have that, hit pause, pull that out. We're just going to go to the first page. If we look here, a lot of these words here are review and they'll come up as we go. So I don't think we need to read through them right now. So let's just get into it and look at what we're going to be doing. We're looking at expressions and variables right now. Expressions are, it says up here, a numerical expression consists of numbers and operations. So it's going to be add, subtract, multiply, divide. Eventually we'll get to exponents, things like that. And then a variable expression is that same thing, but with a variable. Okay, and a variable is usually represented with a number or a letter, and it just means that's something that can change depending on the situation. If you were had some sort of equation that figured out how much money your business was going to make, if you're selling things for $5 and n was the number of whatever you're selling, that n can change. 1 month from the next, the number you sell will change, and then that's why it's variable, because it can change. So let's just look at what type of problems we're going to look at. First type of problem is just evaluating a variable expression. Evaluating means find out what it equals. Okay, when you put in the variable that it says. So it says evaluate the expression 3 times b. So the dot means times. We'll also see other situations that can mean times as well. There's a number of different ways in math that can mean multiplication. When b is 90, so this means 3 times b, but b is going to be 90. So what they do is they do a substitution here. They put 90 in for b. So wherever you see the letter, you put in that number, and then they just go 3 times 90. And go ahead, use your calculator. No big deal. Okay, so that's the first type of problem. Next, you can have more than one variable. Okay, so it says evaluate the expression when x is 9 and y is 5. Just make sure you put the correct number in for the correct letter. So x plus y, they just throw in 9 plus 5, gives you 14. xy means x times y. So anytime there's either two variables next to each other, or it can even be a number next to a variable, that means multiplication. So here they put the 9 in for x, the 5 in for y, and now instead of writing either an x or a dot, they use parentheses. So when two things are next to each other in parentheses, that means multiplication. So that's another way of writing multiplication. So here they just go 9 times 5 is 45. Okay, so some little examples here. It says evaluate the expression. X is 8 and y is 2. I'll try to do my best on writing here. Whoa, that's not good. So it's 8 plus 12, because you put that is really bad. I think I'm going to move it smaller a little bit. Okay, so 8 plus 12 gives you 20. Here, just make sure you do it the correct order, because this could be wrong if you do it in the wrong order. So it has to be the 8 there, has to be the 2 there. 8 minus 2 is 6. Again, this has to be 8 on top. That's very ugly, but it works. 2 on the bottom. Now, a fraction is just another way to write division. So when it's 8 over 2, 8 divided by 2 is 4. Okay. The next type of problem you're going to see is either word problems with a situation, or even just using these words and figuring out, are you supposed to add, subtract, multiply, or divide? So they get some keywords here, and these aren't all of them. Another one, I like to put in division is if you can think of a problem as splitting up something. So if they, obviously divide, if they use that word, is going to mean division. But if you're going to split a check 4 ways, if you're out at a restaurant, you're going to split the check. That means you're going to divide it up 4 ways. Okay, so there's some different words meaning different. The adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. Use this as a reference when you're doing your work. When you get a test, you can use this. So let's take a look at what a word problem would be like. It says you have a 350-page manuscript that needs to be edited. You're going to divide. So right there, that should be key. Okay, that you're going to divide up something. That's not working there, so I don't know why not. But anyways, it says you're going to divide. I wonder why that doesn't work. Let's try a different color. Anyways, so it says you're going to divide the number of pages among several editors. You want to give the same number of pages to each editor. It says use a verbal model to write a variable expression for the number of pages given to each editor. So basically what you're doing, a verbal model and then write an expression. So the verbal model, I'm not too worried, but it does help you get to the answer. So it says when you're going to have something you don't know, you're going to use a variable. So it says let E represent the number of editors, which we don't know. That's something that can change, whether we're going to have 10 or we're going to have 5, whatever. Then we can figure out how many pages each gets. And it says the phrase divide indicates division. So the number of pages each editor gets is going to equal the total number of pages. That's what we call constant. That's going to be there, 350. And we're going to divide that by the number of editors. So our expression, there's 2 ways you can write it. You can write it 350 divided by E, like that. Or this is also 350 divided by E when you make a fraction. A lot of times in algebra, you're going to see it that way. Okay. That's basically the main part of the lesson. There's not going to be any real assignment, but what I would suggest is you take out your study guide. And if you can do the problems in the study guide, you probably don't need to do much more practice. Okay, these ones are 1 through 4 is pretty easy. The variable is the same each time. 5 is just a little word problem. 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 3 letters, and so 3 numbers to choose from. Just make sure you're putting in the right ones. This isn't even really a problem, but you should look at this, see if it makes sense. And then there's a couple little variable expressions down here. They want you to write out something that looks like, this would be a variable expression, n minus 5, or 5x is a variable expression, anything like that. So these would be practice. Now the answers for these are in the back, so I'm not going to be checking them and correcting them, but if you're trying to do some of these, check them in the back. If you're not getting them right, ask me. Use class time to ask me questions. Even if you didn't understand, like example 3 in the note-taking guide, if you didn't understand that, ask me a question, okay? In the practice workbook, I really don't think you need to do much in here. If you want to do some more practice or you want to earn some extra credit for your test, you can do these. Now, all the answers are in the back, and a lot of these doesn't require a lot of work to be shown, like especially in here. So to get the extra credit here, I want to see one step. Even though you're going to use your calculator for number 1 here, I want to see you write 24, and then y is 6, so you'd write. And now you should know that answer, but if you don't, you can use your calculator, get the answer, and then you would take a picture of that page and send it to me. For extra credit, stuff like that, I probably won't post an assignment. You can send it to me in a chat. Okay, so you can take a picture. Let's go and I'll show you that. So if we're here, if I go to a chat, if I'm in a chat with somebody, you have attachments down here. So you might want to do this with your phone, and you can click on, it looks like I would choose that and upload from your phone in that case. There's some of you that don't have a phone. I will come up with a video how to attach a photo to be able to do it on your computer and send it. It's a little more complicated, but you'll be able to do it. So really there's, look at the study guide problems. If you're getting those, you can feel good and move on to the next lesson, 1.2. If you want to build up more practice and get a little extra credit, you can do work on both sides of this. Okay. All right. If there's any questions, let me know.